What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I just kind of want to go through what my process is when I'm creating a new project and how that influences my style of shooting. I mean, I've got my own personal style of shooting anyway and my own style of directing, so it's mostly like what my process is when I'm doing a new project and what I do essentially. And also don't know why I decided to do this in the middle of the day. So we've got a main road right behind me, so you're going to hear a lot of noise. Hopefully I can edit that out in post, but my audio skills, they're not, you know what I'm saying, not that top level. So you might hear a car, a motorbike, a fire engine, a police car, an ambulance go by, and listen, it's alright, it's all good. But let's get right back into it. So I feel like what a lot of people don't understand when they go through my Instagram account is they think that I'm just another videographer and I just turn up and I just shoot, and that's completely not what I do. And I hate these types of shoots because it doesn't give me a chance to plan what I need to do. And also, one big difference that I kind of have to mention is I'm not a videographer and I'm not a DOP by nature, I'm a director by nature. So when it comes to creating projects, I want it to have that storytelling aspect of it. I want there to be a narrative. And it's kind of like why I dislike content creators, even though I'm creating content right now. Yeah, it's an oxymoron, but whatever. But yeah, I like taking on projects that allows me to kind of flex that creativity a bit more in terms of the pre-production. You know, I want to think about the colors that people are wearing, where they are, the location, what kind of look are we going for in terms of like the aesthetic look of the person in front of the camera or the product or the story, and as well as the look for the actual image, like for the color grading. I like to focus on everything as a director. And you know, if you're beginning as a director, say if you didn't go to film school or university to study film, I did. So these are kind of things that I think about. But a person who hasn't and who's kind of like learned on YouTube or is self-taught, this isn't something that they kind of think about when they go to do a project. They just turn up and they shoot. And it kind of like separates the newly beginning videographers to the bit more of the high-end videographers. You know, when you start thinking about what it is that you want to do and what you want to project, you'll kind of like, you'll start breaking that barrier between just being a videographer, and you'll kind of start treading into that cinematography aspect, and you're kind of treading on to that I'm a filmmaker title. Next month I'm directing, making a couple of short films as a DP, as a director, as an AC, and other things as well. And one of the films that I'm directing is focusing on a teenage girl or a second generation Latina who lives in England, and she's dealing with an identity crisis. So she doesn't know who she is, and her image of herself is different to what she sees in her head. And so she's really struggling with like this identity crisis that a lot of teenagers have. And so right pulling from then on, you know, I'm having a conversations with the team who is helping me make this short film. Really cool group of people who go by the name of Film Locals. And so we're creating stories about underrepresented South American people or South American stories. But yeah, so this film that I'm directing it pulls in a lot of very relatable issues, especially with the younger generations now, like teenagers growing up. You know, they have this pressure on them to look a certain way, to talk a certain way, to feel a certain way, and to be constantly on their phones, to give themselves this image. So I'm drawing inspiration from a bunch of different films like Juno, 10 Things I Hate About You, Freaky Friday, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Mean Girls, The Edge of 17, 13 Going on 30, Amelie, and other kind of films that are predominantly female led. And I'm not watching these films to steal directly from them, a carbon copy. Oh, I'm going to recreate this scene exactly like this. No, not at all. I'm getting an idea. And this relates back to one of the videos I did about aspirational viewing or inspirational viewing, where you watch something just to inspire you to make something else. And so what I'm taking from these films, I'm taking screenshots of all the images that I like, the scenes that I like, the shots that I like, and I'm putting it into a big folder that I can pull from, whether it's colors, I might like the green and the red in the scene, and I might incorporate that within my film. Maybe I like a certain shot because it made me feel a certain type of emotion. Maybe I like the music or the type of music that was being played in a film. So these are all the kind of things I write down, and these are the kind of things that I look out for when I'm going into a new project. I watch a bunch of different media, whether it's films, TV series, just YouTube, and I have conversations with people about, hey, when you were growing up, like, how did this kind of thing make you feel like? I have conversations with my friends about this kind of stuff because it really does help me to craft in and hone in the kind of image that I want to give for my film. And so what you have to understand is that what I'm doing is I'm not copying. I'm borrowing, and I'm borrowing aspects from lots of different mediums so I can incorporate them into my own style, into my own way of directing, into my own way of shooting, into my own way of visualizing. And the thing is that mood boards are really helpful when you're creating films, when you're creating adverts, when you're going on shoots, or absolutely anything, because it gives you a much clearer idea of the kind of images that you're trying to recreate. If you go onto a shoot and you're not prepared, then you're prepared to fail. Is that how the saying goes? I'm sure it is. Yeah, we'll go with that. You're prepared to fail when you turn up to a shoot and you haven't looked at any references, and the client hasn't given you any references, there have been no examples, you haven't had that conversation beforehand to be able to create the image that both you're happy with and your client is happy with as well. And if you don't have a client, then, let's take, for example, the audience. If the audience is going to see your work, then this is something that you have to think about. How you're going to relate to your audience, how you're going to attract your audience, how you're going to, captivate your audience with your images. And most of the time, it's not just going to be images. You're going to need sound in there. That's not just music. I'm talking about sound of the atmosphere, sound designing, the shot types, the action in a scene. These are all things that a filmmaker, a director, a DOP, a gaffer, a cinematographer, these are all things that you need to be thinking about when you're creating stories, when you're creating narrative pieces. So I suppose, in conclusion, what I'm trying to get you guys to do is whenever you go onto a shoot, or if you're planning a shoot, then take inspiration from lots of different things. Create a mood board, present that to your client. This is also known as a treatment. So you give the treatment to your client. Okay, this is what I want to do with it. These are the type of colors I'm going for. What do you think? And a lot of the time, clients are thrilled to have this kind of things presented to them because they really begin to trust you. Hey, let's get Howney because he's just presented me this mood board with lots of different ideas, and I really think he can make this happen and make it look really good. These are the kind of level of trust that you want to be having with your clients. And I know that the majority of my clients, I do have that level of trust because I know what I bring to the table, and I just kind of want to let you guys experience that for yourselves, that if you offer them something that they're not used to, more than likely they're going to come to you again and again and again, and the relationship is going to get stronger and stronger. But yeah, that's all from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this short video. Let me know if you like this new setup, because I'm really enjoying it, to be honest. Not gonna lie, I do like it like this. But yeah, guys, take care. If you learned anything, then drop a like or a comment, or even subscribe to the channel. But I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace. Sometimes when you're heavy into the shooting or editing of a picture, you get to the point where you don't know if you could ever do it again. Then suddenly you get excited by seeing somebody else's work.